everyone, you are listening to the Manifesting Straight Talk podcast, and I'm your host, Rachel Chamley. I'm a mindset and manifesting coach from the UK, and I am here to ignite that fire inside of you. If you are a female entrepreneur or change maker, or just a woman that is wanting more from life, then you are in exactly the right place. I am going to give you my no-nonsense, straight-talking advice to manifesting and show you how to take your life to that next level. So if you're ready, dive in now. Hi everyone, welcome to this week's podcast episode. I'm Rachel Chamley, and this week I am continuing the theme of last week. We are going to dive into those things that sabotage your dreams or we think get in the way. Now, last week I talked about time and how we let time stop us moving forward with our desires. But this week I am going to be diving into that sneaky little thing called confidence, which actually we think sometimes people are born with. You know, we say that, oh, they're so confident, I wish I could be like them. And you might be looking at all these people around you and thinking, how do they do it? Now, this is something that I have had a lot throughout my life. People think, wow, you are so confident. You are just able to do this. You make it look easy. And actually, I've had to work on my confidence. I was shy as a kid. No one believes me when I say this, but I was cripplingly shy. I would remember hiding behind people's legs. I would barely speak. And I had two older siblings, which were very chatty. So I probably didn't have to talk a lot. So now, even though I talk for a living, I am literally thinking back to those days where I could barely speak to people. I used to have crippling doubt about going up and starting a conversation with people. And actually, if people come to me, they probably wouldn't have noticed that because it was all in my head. So I would come across and be quite elegant and eloquent even. And I would have that conversation and I would come across really chatty and really friendly. But inside, I was dying. I was thinking, what have I got to offer this conversation? What have I got to say? And that was a constant mantra through my head. What have I got to add to this conversation? Now, it sounds absolutely crazy now when I have a podcast and I literally talk to myself recording this most of the time. And I always have things to say. But it's obviously been one of them things that I had to get over. And you'll have had things like this that have knocked your confidence in the past, that actually you might have a superpower there. You might have something that once you get over that bit of fear, it's going to create something magical. Now, I always think that this fear of me, what am I going to add to the conversation, was probably my ego protecting me at that point. It was probably protecting me from how much I could speak, how much I thought, you know, I actually had to say. And if I'd have said that when I was younger, it might not have landed as well as what it is now. So potentially it was a protection mechanism, but we've got to decide when we stop that protection mechanism and actually let your superpower come through. Now, I don't have that on mantra anymore because I choose something different. So I do come across quite confident and I do come across all out there. And you might be thinking, oh, it's because she's an extrovert or it's because this or it's because that. But what I'm going to go through with you today is the secret to the confidence underneath, the secret to the confidence of doing anything you want. Now, I call this the CRC model. So we've got a bit of Rachel Chamley in there maybe for the RC, but it is the CRC model. And I want you to remember that, CRC, because anyone can do it. Anyone can be confident at anything. So I want you to start to think of this model and I'm going to go through it with you. Now, confidence is not something you are born with. It is not something you get to have and some special people get to have it. Everyone can have it. everyone just needs to work at it. And everybody does need to work at it. All these people that you think are so confident, it's probably because they've been doing these 3 things that I am going to show you. So when you think about confidence, the first thing I want you to think about is clarity. Clarity in your message or clarity in what you're doing. Clarity can come into all sorts of different things. Now, it could just be clarity in the knowledge of what you're doing. It could be clarity in what it is you want to achieve. So whatever that looks like for you, it's being clear on what it is you are doing. Now, when I first started my business, I wasn't 100% clear. I wasn't 100%. I didn't have this clarity, and I didn't have, people say niche down or do all this stuff. I didn't have all of that, but I had a very clear value of what I was trying to do. I wanted to help more people. I wanted to help people be able to think differently and live a different life. So that was what I was clear on. I wanted to help more people. And that was the clarity I needed. And it can be that simple. We don't have to overemphasize clarity. Literally, it can be, I want to help more people. I have a desire to help. Now, if you adopt that mantra, everything changes. So if you have that clarity, you always go back to, if I don't do this, am I helping people or not? So when I was scared about doing a Facebook Live, or I was scared about starting a podcast, I had to think, what if it just helps one person? What if everything I do just helps one person? And then in my head, I thought, yeah, I can do that. I can help one person. Even if I go live and I'm scared and I mess up, or I start a podcast and it doesn't work, then if one person listens and gets something from it, that is enough. So imagine what your clear message could be. It could be something so simple that actually changes the way you look at things. So it's that clarity on what you are doing, or it's maybe clarity on why you are doing it. You maybe don't even know the what, and that's fine. You start your business, you're like, well, I'm going to try this. And if that doesn't work, it's okay. But, what is it you want to start the business for? Is it because you want to live a life of freedom? Is it because you want to have more money? Then if that's the case, then all you have is that is your clear mantra. I am doing this to have more money. So then when you get stuck and you feel scared of doing something, you think, well, is this going to help me ultimately make more money? If the answer is yes, that's when your clarity comes into play, and it gives you that oomph to do the thing anyway. So clarity is number 1. You don't have to be clear on everything. One of the best tips I heard, especially this was when I worked in the bank years ago, you are never going to know everything. So that was one thing, you are never going to know everything. So get that in your mind. But my manager told me, even if you don't know, if you sound confident, people will believe you. So that's the next thing. Just sound confident. You don't have to know everything. You just need to sound confident. So just be clear and set your intention. I am going to sound confident in this thing. Even if you don't, you're telling yourself. And when we tell ourselves something, it tends to happen. So I took that mantra of, right, I might not know, but if I say it confidently enough, they'll believe me. And that was probably not the best thing to do when you worked in a bank, but it really helped me, especially when I didn't know, because actually I was able to go, I don't know that, but I'll ask someone. And I was confident in that it didn't sound like I was shirking. It didn't sound like I didn't have enough information. It sounded like I was confidently answering their question. And that is exactly what you can do as well. Maybe I don't know, but I know where to go. And that might be enough, but you sound confident enough. So clarity. Clarity is the first thing. Clarity in what you are doing. I know for me, every time I start something or I create something new, I just go back to that mantra. Will this help one person? And that is enough for me to put it out and be scared and be terrified and think, oh my God, is anybody going to want it? Is anybody going to benefit from this? But then I think if it just helps one person. So that is my clarity. That is my message. That is what I think. And that gets me into action. That gets me doing that thing that I am scared of. So clarity can push you from fear to doing it, which is where you step into the confidence. Now, the second thing is that so repetition. So you've done the clarity step, and that has stepped you into the action. That has pushed you over from that fear stage into, I'm going to do this now. My message is clear enough that I am going to do this now. So you do it. And you do it that time, and it might be Facebook Live, it might be going up and speaking, it might be going and selling something to someone. Whatever that is for you, you go and do that thing. You send that message, you have that conversation, you do that scary thing, and then you repeat it, and you repeat it, and you repeat it. And this is the thing, this is often where people stop. People don't become confident in something because they don't repeat it. Even though it scares you, you have to keep going. You are never, ever going to be a perfect version first time. Go back to my first ever podcast. You will not hear me sound like I did today. Go back to my first ever live. I am literally like a shivering wreck. My energy is like, oh my God, I'm so sorry I've come on here live. I hope this is okay. And I'm literally like that. But you see me on there now, I love it because I have done it over and over again, even though it scared me, even though it terrified me at the beginning. And I was thinking, nobody wants to see this. My old self, that shy self, was like, nobody wants to hear what I have to say. Nobody wants to see or hear me on Facebook. What am I doing? Why are you doing this? I used to go back to that place, but I used to think, I'm going to help one person by doing this. So I would do it, and I would repeat it, and I would do it again and again and again, even though it petrifies me. Sometimes now I go on Facebook Live and them old fears and doubts come in, especially when I'm on my public page. That was a big one. And it's like, oh my God, what am I doing? Why am I doing that? And it's like, but if it just helps one person, and then once I get on there, I am fine. So it's literally working through them ego thoughts. But repetition is the key. It really does make you change the way you do things. You suddenly, something that you started, after you do it again and again and again, you become the master of it. So suddenly it's not as scary. You feel more confident. You feel good when you do it. And that is how you build confidence. So repetition builds your confidence. And that is key to moving forward. Now, the last thing is the final C. So I did say CRC, and the last thing is choice. Choice to do it despite your fears. Now, like I say, I do have to dip into this every now and again. Every time I launch a new product, it scares the life out of me. It still does, but I keep doing it, and I keep doing it, and I keep doing it. So choice to do it despite your fears. That is the last step. You are still going to feel scared even when you are more confident. If anybody thinks that once you are at a certain level, you are not going to feel fear, you are not going to get that dips in your confidence every now and again, you are wrong. Everybody gets that. Oprah will get that. Beyonce will get that. People who are that big still get that imposter syndrome. They still think, who am I to be doing this? And they've interviewed so many successful people who still have this fear. So this is why the last one is very important. You decide to go after your dreams despite your fears. So whatever it is that you are thinking of doing, you are trying to get confident at, you decide to do it despite of your fears. Now, that is a powerful one. If you can start to get into the practice of that, suddenly you are repeating that thing over and over again, and you build your confidence. Like I said, confidence isn't given. It isn't something you just have. It's something you build. And using these 3 steps will literally build your confidence in anything. And then when you try something new, you do it again. You do these steps again. So you get clear on what you're doing it for. You get clear on how many times you're going to do it, and you start to repeat it. You do it and you do it again and you do it again. And then you choose to keep doing it despite of your fears. And this will literally change the way you look at confidence. If you use this over and over again, you could be so successful. Whatever it is you're trying, it doesn't matter whether it's not going to work. It doesn't matter whether you are going to sucker it first time, because the more you repeat, the more you do it, the more you will get better and better. So these are 3 things that have literally changed the way I approach my confidence. And this is why people say to me, oh my God, you come across so confident. You are so easy with that. And it's because I practice this regular. I know that things are going to scare me. I know that doing something new is going to petrify me. I know that. I go into that knowing it. There's no point in deciding that it won't, because it will. New things are scary, and that's okay. But you have a structure, you have a format you can follow. So you get clear on why you want to do that thing. It might be you want to jump out of an aeroplane and you're like, well, I'm clear I want to do it because I want to hit it before this bucket list, or I want to do something scary in my life, or I want to have been able to say I do it. So that's what pushes you into doing the thing. Now, I'm not going to say go and jump out of a plane every weekend, but can you see how that clarity step can just push you from that fear zone into action? And this is what it takes. So that clarity just moves you from that fear straight into action. Then once you've done the action, you repeat, you repeat, you repeat, and then you just choose to keep doing it despite your fears. You will have, as you're repeating, your ego repeatedly coming up to you saying, what are you doing that for? You did that wrong. You sounded silly then. Why are you doing this still? Are you not going to give up? All of that stuff, but you choose to do it despite your fears. And that's when you start to shut off that ego. So as soon as you think, well, I'm going to do it anyway, whatever my ego comes in and says, because it will bring up your worst fears, it will bring up the perfectionism, it will bring up all them things that we worry about, but you choose to do it anyway because you are clear on your why. So it all works in this wonderful method to get you confident in what you are doing, whatever that is. So this is how I look and seem confident. I'm not. I have them fears inside. I have that ego on repeat. I just choose to manage it differently. Now, this CRC method is literally a game changer if you are wanting to be more confident in anything in your life. So please try it. Come to the Facebook page. Tell me all about what you've tried. Tell me whether this has opened up your eyes and cleared one of your sabotages, because that is what I'm focusing on at the minute. These blocks, these things that stop you being the best you, because literally there shouldn't be anything getting in your way. You are incredible. You are here to make miracles. You are here to be authentically you. And that is what I want you to be. I want you to be your best self and live your best life. So make sure you are thinking how you can bring more of this into your life, more confidence, and go after those big dreams. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I will catch you next week. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. I hope you loved every minute of it. If you want to follow me on social media, all the links are in the show notes, and I will catch you next week for more Manifesting Straight Talk.